Tom. Wow, how does it feel to be here tonight, having your story told on the big screen?
Quite absurd. Look, here am I, I'm a nobody, surrounded by the great and the good of British entertainment. Look at it, you know. Standing next to John, you know. I mean, if this happened in the streets, you know, and here am I on the same side of the barrier, you know. And Steve Coogan and you know, Peter Catania. These people are legends in their own right, you know, honoured nationally, and me. So, you know, what am I supposed to say? It's just very peculiar, very odd. Yes, it has a sense of being unreal, but it's been unfolding very gently for years. Look, 50 years ago, a penguin flapped its wings, and on the ripples of that flapping wings, it's carried me here tonight. So it's taken a long time.
And when they first, you know, approached you with the idea of turning your story into a movie, what was your first thought? How did it make you feel?
Obviously, one's delighted. You think, you know, it might help the grandchildren in some way. There are so many emotions. I am desperately ill, and I get this email saying, Steve Coogan, we are going to film in November, and Steve Coogan is going to play you. And you just think, well, I'm not going to be there to see that. And that was the nadir for me. So it isn't screaming emotion. I'm not a little boy. I've come through some very rough times. How does it feel when your oncologist looks at the scans and said, there is no trace of your cancer left. It's gone. How do you compare those kind of emotions? How do you compare it with the one that's when your wife's oncologist says, I'm sorry, there's nothing more we can do. We can only offer palliative care. How do you feel about all those things? You know, the emotions are so, they rip you apart. So if you want me to say, you know, I'm going to hop and skip like a little boy, no, I've been through too many rough times.
Steve Coogan, to play you, I mean, he just has this effortless way of moving between moments of drama, moments of humour, and he really sort of carries the story.
Tanya so brilliantly said today, if they'd made the film about me, it would have been utterly boring because I'm just two-dimensional and a callow 23-year-old. It immediately occurred to me that A Christmas Carol doesn't work if you start off with Scrooge being a generous, avuncular, nice old man, and he doesn't change through the film. You need to have this cantankerous, bad-tempered, miserable old git who has in the arc of the story the change, and perhaps it's something to do with the penguin. So obviously Steve Coogan is a very much better person to do it than, you know, some terribly handsome 22-year-old who hasn't got the gravitas to carry it off. So no, much better with Steve Coogan than me, or I say that, you know, callow 22-year-old.
And what do you hope people will go out the cinema feeling after watching this movie? I mean, although there's tragedy, although this is political unrest, obviously, in the background, it's so uplifting.
Perhaps it's a film for our time, because look at the pollution, and this was 50 years ago, and I was walking along the beach saying, what kind of people are we that are doing this kind of thing? 50 years ago, and we're still doing it, and it's far worse, and species extinction is something we must all take much more seriously. You know, I was living in the time of a fascist military government who was killing people and murdering people and smashing their lives. We've got fascist dictatorship smashing up people's lives. Now, people better start thinking, well, I'm not telling them they should start thinking about it. They will reflect on it and think, you know, these are uncomfortable times.
Thank you so much for sharing all that. Really enjoy this moment. Enjoy tonight. Thank you. Cheers.